Well, our guest is going to be Tess Banko. She's the executive director of the VFWC, and that's the Veteran Family Wellness Center. It's building 220 on the West LABA campus. There's a lot of great resources, events, and things planned for veterans, and it's an honor to have Tess on the show, and it's so grateful to have you give us some of your time today, Tess. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you are here. All right. Let's start out with finding out where the heck the Wellness Center is located. Now, I know it's on the VA campus, but just kind of describe it. It's on the north side of Wilshire, is it?
Yes, it is. It's on the north side of Wilshire, in fact, in building 220. So when you see the church, you know you're almost there. But you drive down and it's right past the Wadsworth Theater, and we're located, co-located with VA services like acupuncture and Reiki and the different holistic modalities that the VA offers for veterans.
Now, you're in the whole building?
Yeah, so we're on the third floor in the West Wing.
West Wing.
Yes. So when you come upstairs onto the third floor, there's signage there that guides you into the offices, but we have a welcome area that you can come into, check out the resources, say hello to Melissa Lee, who's our family services coordinator. She's also a Marine Corps veteran, and just a whole lot of fun. So yeah, come visit at some point. Oh my
God, we got Marines everywhere. I told you one day I would have signed up to be a Marine, except my parents, well, they were married. You know, that's I mean, it's a veteran show. I got to say silly stuff. Okay, so now I was wondering about this. Now, does UCLA own that building, or does the VA own the building?
The VA owns the building. In fact, the center came out of legislation that was passed in 2015 that included the redevelopment of the West Los Angeles VA campus. So UCLA does own, it operates the Jackie Robinson Stadium on the VA campus. And as a result of that lease, they said we'll pay more in fair market value rent, because at the time when UCLA had started the contract, they paid, what was requested. So they are paying more now in fair market value rent, and also have established what they call in-kind centers. And the center that I direct is one of those. There's also the UCLA Legal Clinic. There's a Center for Homelessness and Co-occurring Disorders. There are veterans programs. So there's just a myriad of different programs that are attached to the UCLA leases.
Wow, that's incredible. Now you said Nicholas said your title, it's the executive director?
Yes, that's right.
Now you're a VA employee or UCLA?
No, I'm a UCLA employee. So the center is a partnership between UCLA and the VA. And I think that's really important because it speaks to the work that's being done across sections. Oftentimes we'll partner with VA sections and we'll do different programs that encompass not only the veteran, but the family members as well. So that's one of the unique points about the VFWC. We don't just serve veterans, we also serve the family members, which is pretty crucial considering that trauma can be passed down from parent to child, or from between spouses. So we're really to be serving alongside VA programs.
So veterans are really a bunch of screwed up people.
No. Our programs are preventative in nature, actually. So
preventative.
Well, they're intended to give people the tools that they need before they know that they need them. And I think that's pretty as well. But we also help, if someone has had issues in the past, and help bolster with resilience-based wellness is what we call it. Our core model is focused, families overcoming under stress, which is A, evidence-based, which is important to me as a veteran, and B, is in use at over 30 active duty military bases nationally and internationally. So the program is very well known. It's considered a DoD best practice, and we've taken that program and translated it into the veterans community.
Wait a minute. Now, what's DoD stand for? I know what it stands for, but we got people out here, we throw out all these letters and they don't know what the heck we're talking about. The civilians don't anyway. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Department of Defense.
That's right. That's not about, yes. Okay. So my next question is, now there are several well, they're not actually VAs. I guess they're C-Box. Sepulveda's an ambulatory care center. And then we have the one downtown on Temple Street. Now, do you have the people from those areas come to VA West Los Angeles, or do you have programs that are actually presented at those other locations?
Sure. So sometimes we go out to other locations and do co-programming. We can do groups as requested. We can also do things like self-care for providers, go out into the sections, the VA sections, talk about veteran culture, which is very important as a service provider that serves veterans and families, is really just understanding and knowing the culture. So we have that aspect of it where we can go out to different locations, do workshops, things like that. And then we have a lift ride program. One of our generous donors, the Amundsen Foundation, helped us establish a ride program where we can get veterans and their families free lift rides into the center.
Huh. Well, let's see, I'm just trying to remember, how many veterans are in the GLA, Greater Los Angeles? Is there like 90,000 veterans at VA West Los Angeles that are served and the surrounding area? Tell me about the numbers of people that are utilizing the Family Wellness Center.
Sure. Well, in Los Angeles County in general, as you probably know, it's the largest population of veterans and families in the country. So 325,000, that's an estimate, based on the census. But there are more coming in every day. So, there are people EASing out of the military, moving back to the Los Angeles area. So you have that population. You have the general catchment area for GLA, which, as you mentioned, is around 90,000, just based on the numbers that we can get from the VA. But the center, since it opened in 2017, has served over 10,000 veterans and family members. So it's been a journey. It's been great.
That's a lot of people. Now, I've recently had the privilege of attending a Disney movie that the Wellness Center sent us all, well, as many of us that you could pack in there, but we all went there and they gave us bag lunches and popcorn and candy and took our pictures. And I mean, it was a great night. I had such a fun time, and I just want to, say thank you to you and the Wellness Center for planning that event, because it was popping. I really loved it. So
yeah, absolutely. And partnership is a key part of what we do, especially right now during COVID. It's very, very difficult because a lot of on-site operations have ceased. The VFWC is actually in virtual mode right now just to protect the team who is serving veterans. But the partnership aspect of this time has been tremendous. So we've been able to partner on things like the movie experience. We've partnered with American Legion Posts, the VA. So we're part of the drive-through food pantry, which is an incredible effort.
I saw you there yesterday because I was in line.
Cherry pie.
The cherry pie. That's right.
The UCLA's Kitchens stepped up and offered 200 cherry pies for the drive-through pantry this time, and then at the Thanksgiving pantry also donated 200 pies. So,
oh man. So now you're a member of the American Legion. What post?
Post 283. But I'm also
same one with me. How convenient.
I'm auxiliary at 43 too. I like to.
Oh, I kind of like to mix it up a little. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm going to let Nicholas ask you a couple of questions that he has, and that way I can sit back and drink my drink.
That sounds great.
All right. Cool.
Hey, Tess, how you doing? Well, as Gail said, I'm from the north side of Wilshire. So, thank you. I just want to thank you. And thank the VFWC. What that means is I spent a lot of time at the domiciliary residential treatment program. As we talked about last week, I've experienced homelessness. And while I was at the domiciliary rehabilitation residential treatment program, and that covers a lot of things, we'll get into that later. But there's a lot of courses, a lot of things that we do at the domiciliary, and it can be somewhat isolating. So to be able to walk across the street from building 217 to go to 220, there was this refreshing feeling and this welcoming feeling that meant so much, and that's why I say thank you. First off, it was a great environment to learn in. It was a great environment to explore in. And I know I'm not alone in that sentiment because I know how the domiciliary residents obviously felt about having VFWC available to them. So I guess my question is, the first question I'd have is, with COVID going on, what is the VFWC's current relationship with the domiciliary?
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for that. It means a lot to me to hear that, the programming is impactful and meaningful. For me as a veteran working in this space, it feels incredible to just know that good things are happening and it's doing what it's intended to do. So that always makes me very, very happy to hear. So thanks for that. But yeah, the relationship with the domiciliary is really special to us. Resilience trainers is what we call our staff, as opposed to psychotherapists or other terms that have been used to describe people that work in wellness. But resilience trainers established a pretty special relationship with the DOM, going over and offering groups. Resilience-based wellness skills, communication, emotional regulation, managing trauma and loss, like I know a lot of us do. But we have managed to, maintain the relationship and try to build on it. So bringing some of our partners in, we were able last year to help have the domiciliary building decorated by community volunteers, which was just an absolutely incredible aspect of partnership. So again, it's so great to see these things happen, especially for those who are so just, close to my own heart and deserving of the efforts. So in the COVID time, we have still continued to offer our services virtually. And I know that it's kind of challenging because there's a little bit of a divide. Some people don't have access to technology. Some people do. So also we have gone on site to offer, flyers talking about some of the information, the classes that we have, and really tried to connect with people, especially at the drive-through food pantries. So yeah, I think that's in a nutshell, but.
Yes. Thank you. Another thing I'd say is, and this is, when you're experiencing homelessness, and I don't know if everyone knows that, a lot of it involves rebuilding your life, right? So when I got there, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a place, an apartment, any of those things. Gratefully, I have those things now. But I say that because at Christmas time, this same time of year, I want to say in 2019, the VFWC had a drawing, and I won a bicycle, which was my first mode of transportation. And it meant so much to me to get around all over campus and, of course, all over Brentwood and be able to travel. So a shout out to the VFWC for providing me with my first mode of transportation, which was that bicycle around Christmas time back in 2018, 2019. Thank you all again.
That's incredible.
Yeah, super.
Good to hear.
I also wanted to ask, what are some of the VFWC's programs or events or resources available for December this year and January for veterans?
Sure. So we just took part this last Saturday in the drive-through food pantry, again, providing UCLA pies from UCLA. And then we also held our annual Toys for Tots giveaway. So every year we have a list. People, veterans and families can sign up for toys for their family members. And normally we would have people come into the center to get them and maybe have a tour, have a little open house, some cookies, a little bit of fun. But unfortunately, this year with the COVID restrictions, safer at home and shelter in place made that challenging. So innovation led us to use the drive-through food pantry to be able to give those items out. So for the rest of the year, the center is open to serve. I know that UCLA campus takes a 2-week break every year. So the campus is closed, but the VFWC is open and will be serving alongside our VA family. So we have call-in hours. If somebody needs access to resources, we have a list of 11 pillar areas of resources. We have a partnership with Village for Vets, who helps those who might need rent stipends or food or those types of items. So we've really just tried to cast a wide net on resources and partnership, because it's a long table. No one of us can do everything by ourselves, and the partnerships best serve, veterans like you and me. So in January, we're going to be doing team groups. So it's transition, engagement, and mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new kind of group. It's a transition resilience group, and we saw a need for it. For me, just coming out of the Marine Corps and seeing kind of the pieces that were missing in the transition program there, we coupled that with research coming from UCLA about the ways that we change when we get out of the military. So our mission changes, the meaning in our life, our identity even, and our sense of purpose changes. So we've incorporated those things in with the resilience-based wellness skills, and that is our team program. So we'll be offering those groups in January.
Absolutely. Special shout out to the team program also, because I participated in the team program. I actually had the pleasure of sitting in on some of the early research involving the team program. And I want to make sure I state that the team program is a big part of why I've been able to transition away from the experience of homelessness and be able to utilize the VASH program, get an apartment, maintain and sustain that apartment for over a year, and also start to do a lot of things that were planned out in the team sessions at Building 220, VFWC, sitting down and actually planning these things out. These things are now playing out in my life. I'm a published writer. I've applied to UFC screenwriting program for a master's in MFA. So a lot of those things were planned out through that transition. I'm a veteran who didn't have TAPS available to me. So I haven't gotten any of that until I participated in the team program. And I just wanted to make sure I stated that. So check it out. It's a big time program. I also wanted to go ahead and say that I have some fellow veterans that aren't always able to receive services because they don't have their discharge status is not honorable, or and what I've noticed is that what I could do with telling my fellow veterans is, hey, the VFWC is willing to work with you regardless of your discharge status, which is another huge thing that I don't think we can speak widely enough about. So the question would be, how did the decision to offer programs and resources to veterans regardless of discharge status come about at the VFWC?
Really, I think just wanting to be able to serve as many as possible, and knowing that sometimes due to military service, people can have challenges, very different challenges. And the military doesn't always look kindly upon these challenges. There's, different command units who have different ways of dealing with issues that, service members might have. I know there was a period of time where people who were experiencing things like sexual assault might have been put out of the military on a different kind of discharge. There have been issues where veterans who had post-traumatic stress issues on active duty, maybe it wasn't attributed to what it should have been attributed to, which is, traumatic stress, maybe stress from combat. And they get out of the military with, paperwork that wasn't necessarily honorable, but that doesn't make the service any less honorable. So in order to honor that and to be able to serve, having these things in mind, the VFWC serves those from any discharge status, any service era as well.
Hell yeah. I also, that's huge, Tess. That's huge stuff. I mean, I just got to go ahead and say that. I hope that everybody hears that and realizes how big that is to have the VFWC willing to see us, and regardless of our discharge status. And I've actually seen veterans go from having that discharge status changed, which is a process. So that's actually a gap, and that the VFWC is willing to fill that gap as that process plays out is absolutely tremendous. I also wanted I'm sorry, did you have anything, Tess? Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, thank you. It means so much to me to hear, again, both in a professional capacity and in a personal capacity, because a lot of the work that we do is responding to those gaps, the gaps of not having services for families as well. Families serve, just as much oftentimes as the service member in terms of what they're giving from their own life. Transition issues, there are issues with communications with children, being able to talk to your children about maybe some of the issues that you've encountered on active duty that can really kind of tear at the fabric of a family, essentially. So, just addressing those gaps has been a tremendous part of the work I think that the center has done, and it really means a lot to me to hear that that it helps.
It absolutely helps, and that brings me to another thing that the VFWC has done. Hey, Gail, how you doing?
Hey, I have a question. Can I read this question before you go to your next one? Because I want to make sure we get this in. I have a question from Marianne Davis, and she says, what's happening with legal assistance for veterans? Also, how do you sign up take advantage of classes in Tai Chi and let's see, tell us more about family service, what they actually do. Well, we've been talking about that, but let's talk a little bit about legal services, because we're going to do a show on getting a new DD 214 updated and how that happens. And if you have a dishonorable discharge, and, how do you get that fixed? And just in general, let's try to answer her question for her.
Sure. So again, the UCLA suite of services includes a legal center. So UCLA runs the legal center, and they do things like, ticket expungements, and they work a little bit in the arena of discharge upgrades and those types of things. But, it's been controversial in some ways in the community, because I think sometimes there's not a great understanding of the capacity for the different areas of law. So no one organization, again, can do all of this themselves. Some organizations with the specialty in, criminal law. There are some with civil law. So what UCLA and really the veterans community in Los Angeles have done is create kind of a network of resources. So we have, the VFWC has a resource sheet I can share, and you all can share, with a lot of these different legal resources on it. If you ever need direction, you can call the UCLA Legal Clinic. Another point of intake actually is DMH. So the VFWC is partnered with the Department of Mental Health, who is enacting—
DMH is what?
Department of Mental Health?
Department of Mental Health. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure everybody gets all these letters. You know how it is. I'm serious. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so we have partnered with the Department of Mental Health. They're enacting a veteran peer access network. And so what that does is put peer supports, people with shared lived experiences like yourselves and me, into the community. They're trained and they're able to get veterans to different resource areas. So that's an option as well. There's a link on the LA County Department of Mental Health website that you can actually refer somebody to get a call from a veteran peer in order to support them, in order to get them the resources they need. So there's no wrong, it's a no wrong door approach here in Los Angeles County. We're really trying to provide resources at multiple levels that are accessible. So there's that. The services in Building 220 actually are run through the VA. So typically you can call Building 220. There is a service administrator on the first floor who answers, Hassan, and he'll be able to direct you to what programming you can actually just walk into.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him. I've met him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Again, with COVID, I'm not sure what they're actually having go on.
No, not with COVID. Jeez, it's always COVID. You know.
But there are also programs that you need access through your general practitioner. So you need a referral to be able to take part in. So you would then call your your GP and have them refer you.
That's over like at Building 500, the main hospital on VA West LA. So you go in there, and if you're brand new, a veteran to VA West Los Angeles, you go in that front door, and the business office is right there to the right, and you can sign up for eligibility for getting a loan for a home or just medical benefits. And you know what we need to bring up is My Health is Vet, for God's sakes, and e-benefits, because that's where you can get your paperwork printed. You know, my light just fell off my computer. Can you still see me? It's amazing the stuff that goes on around here. And but whatever. I just wanted to bring up this official VA form. This is a VA butt hurt report. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you know, you can just grab one of those anywhere at the VA, because somebody's always need to fill out a VA butt hurt report. So there you go. I don't know. I'm gonna take a second and put my light back on, because this is craziness. I mean, oh, there it is. Now can you see it? VA butt hurt report. There we go. That's an official form. It's a VA form, whatever there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get my light, so I'll be right back.
Yes, we can still see you. You haven't disappeared. Oh, you're on mute, Nick.
Thank you, Tess. I wanted to give a shout out to Marianne Davis. Thank you. I appreciate the question also. She's also been a help to me throughout my transition, and I want to make sure I say thank you. You brought up resilience training. You brought up a very good point, Tess. Is another thing that the VFWC does. As a veteran transitioning away from homelessness, obviously there's a family that suffers. I'm a father. I have a daughter. The VFWC has provided services for that. I know there's resilience training. I know that there was an option if I wanted to have my daughter involved in any of my resilience training, there was that option available. What's so cool, though, is that the drive-in at Santa Monica, the Right Stuff's world premiere, was an opportunity for that type of repair to take place, because I was able to take my daughter, courtesy of the VFWC, to see the Right Stuff world premiere. And that was one of the first times we were able to go back to the movies. And that's something we did her whole life. And it meant so much to us. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And of course, ABC interviewed us and everything as soon as we drove in, you know, and it was just a special time. And it's part of that important repair that can happen for a veteran, and that happened for me. And I know the VFWC is a big part of that. I just had a question about how that particular partnership took place with the Right Stuff's world premiere in Disney at the Santa Monica Drive-In.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was an opportunity that was offered to us, again, by Center Partners. As you know, we're very close to Hollywood. There are organizations who work in Hollywood that are very interested in the health and well-being of veterans. In fact, most of the major studios have corporate social responsibility programs. And oftentimes they'll reach out and say, hey, we really want to offer this to veterans. Can you help us bridge and engage and maybe get some veterans signed up to come and experience this? So honestly, it's, again, the power of partnership and people with the best interests of veterans and families at heart. And honestly, it is pretty valuable the way that once these connections are made, things happen. So fantastic. It's just so great to hear that.
Absolutely. And from the north side of Wilshire, UCLA, we see you. We see you. I had one more question, and that's just, what about the upcoming programs and resources? And in particular, is there anything you're working on right now to bring to the VFWC that you can tell us about?
Sure. So right now, again, I think our focal points are team, so transition, education, and mentoring. Those groups work with that. And then also the partnership with the VPAN, so the Veteran Peer Access Network. That actually is a platform. So the county will have a resource platform that's, I think, going to revolutionize services in the county. Because as you know, you kind of have to hunt and peck to get different resources. You can use 2-on-1, but this really will be a platform specifically just for veteran resources. And then attached to that will be veteran family peers. So the VFWC has been tapped to train the 55 county peers. They'll be trained in a basic model of peer support, so becoming a certified peer support specialist. And then they'll come to us for veteran family peer navigator training, which gives them that family aspect in their tool belt. So I know that there's a lot of hiring going on in the community for veteran peers. If you're interested maybe in working in that field, you can find links to organizations that are hiring peers. So basically, I think that's what the center is working on. We're going to have a speaker series coming up with topics that are relevant and timely for veteran families. We are taking part in something called Families Tackling Tough Times Together. That's a program out of Purdue University that gives resources, resilience resources to families. These include things like how to get through this COVID time, which I know for me as a parent, I'm a mother, I have a 7-year-old daughter, has been rather challenging, especially because children's worlds are just completely upended and there's behavioral issues and lots of challenges. So it really teaches families how to enact things like gratitude. What am I grateful for in my life that can carry me through this time? What experiences in my life previously that I might have had challenges with, can I look back on and say, hey, I'm really resilient, and what tools did I use and what tools can I use? So that's all part of everything that's coming up for the VFWC within the next year. And also still in our core focus training, our team training. We have an individual model of focus now because we recognize that when the center was initially enacted, it was basically conceptualized for families specifically. But what we saw were a lot of individuals who might have had family challenges in their military services that needed that just as much as anyone who was coming in with an entire family. So we have an individual model, we have resources for military sexual trauma, combat veterans, just to name a few. There's a couple different areas. We really customize the services.
Thank you so much, Tess. Thank you so much. I mean, that kind of exponential service is just amazing. I just saw a decision tree in my mind. It brought me back to like college. You know what I mean? But I can just see how it can exponentially impact the veteran experience and how it continues to multiply. And grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me.
Wow, it's great. I really appreciate you being here today and making the effort. It's been incredibly informative. Now, I know that the three of us, just before we let Tess go, are you finished, Nicholas?
Absolutely, Gail.
I know Nicholas always was telling me that he just wanted to live alone. And I said, you need to just be a lighthouse keeper, and just completely freak out altogether. But you know what? He found the wellness center and he's a happy camper now. So, oh, by the way, there's a tent camp over near the wellness center. How do you interface with that, if you don't mind, before we let you go? And then I wanted to also mention about how the three of us went on a tour of the chapel, because we're probably showing footage about the chapel and stuff on the next program. I mean, that's what I'm thinking about. I haven't talked to Nicholas about it yet, but I'm thinking that might be a good show to do next. So tell me about the tent camp just a little bit, because we have about 15 minutes left before the end of the show. So we got a little time. Go ahead.
Sure. So the CTRS, or the Care, Treatment, and Rehabilitation Services area, was again enacted in response to COVID-19. So giving veterans and family members a safe place should they be experiencing homelessness and be on the streets, to engage services and begin that process that Nicholas spoke about with being able to rebuild. So getting into stable housing, getting programming, getting medical services. So the CTRS really is a novel effort for the VA on the VA campus. And we're very happy at the VFWC to be able to support in any way possible. And some of that includes partnership. Again, we're partnered with Village for Vets, which is a support organization that was enacted to give support to the programs on the VA campus. And they've been providing food for the CTRS. We've been able to support them by offering refrigerator space since we're just right adjacent to the CTRS.
I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know that. No, I mean, I know everything. So, I mean, it's, I feel like I've been living in a cave with regard to the tent camp situation, and it changes a lot. And so they have refrigerator access.
Yes. And so until they got their own refrigerator access, we were able to offer that and store, help store the meals and everything for that effort, because people might not realize, but if a program is not in a brick and mortar building on the VA campus, due to law, congressional law, the VA cannot provide those services, the food, everything. And so it's been a real community partnered effort to come together and provide those things. So in addition to that, we've been able to tap some of our partners. Nicholas mentioned the organization that donated the bikes Sunday, and so they're actually going to be giving gifts for each of the CTRS veterans that are there.
Wow, that's so cool. That's great.
Working with voluntary services, there is a list that they put out periodically where they categorize the needs in the CTRS, so anyone can donate to it. If you contact voluntary services, there's a link actually on the VA website that talks about voluntary services and will put you in direct contact with one in your area. Mm-hmm. But also Gail and Nicholas are a font of information, very well connected in the veterans community. So you guys, I'm sure, have access to that list as well.
Well, yeah, we need to put it, because we are actually establishing, I don't know if you knew this, Tess, but we're trying to create a library so people can go back and watch these shows again and get a list of resources via this Voice of the Veteran vlog. Is that what it is? It's a vlog?
Yeah. Yes.
I keep calling it a podcast, and everybody keeps saying it's not a podcast. That's only audio, Gail. That's only audio. I said, oh, okay, well, they're seeing it too, for goodness sake. So yeah. So okay, so I know our friend Kyle and Jerry Orleman donated a whole bunch of tents and scarves and all kinds of stuff for people recently, and and I'm hoping to have them on as well regarding service animals and things like that. Now, I haven't arranged that yet, but I think that'd be a really good interview for this show as well, Nicholas. I'm going to talk about them as soon as possible. They may be watching it right now. I don't know, but
shout out to Kyle and Jerry.
Yeah, they're tremendous, absolutely tremendous advocates for the community. Kyle was part of Yarn Angels, they knitted all of the blankets that we donated. So Kyle brought those up for us to hand out at the drive-through pantry. So again, the power of partnership, absolutely incredible in making things happen.
And that's why I always say, when you help a veteran, everybody loves to, in the military, they tell us to train the person above you, below you, and to either side about what it is you're doing, so that if you fall, then people can fill in. Well, that's how it is. When you help a veteran, a lot of veterans get helped, because, you bring one person up, and, look at Nicholas. Jeez. When I hear his story alone, it makes me want to cry. I'm telling you. He is such a wonderful advocate for veterans and just tireless in his efforts. And it just goes about it every day, just with a smile on his face, just trying to help people. And I'm proud of you, Nicholas. And Tess, I'm proud of you too. My gosh, the stuff that you guys do, we have to think of things. We have to constantly be trying and doing and building more stuff. You know what I mean?